Good morning, Gomana Dia Yev Falter Overstock, the Radio Maria era. Bit of Irish for you there, Father Simon. Gomana Dia Yev means may God bless you, the blessings of God upon you. So now I have a new guest today. We're continuing, of course, our 9-day novena in honour of Our Lady's birthday tomorrow, and indeed wishing her a happy birthday by offering her the gift of ourselves, and indeed the gift of our radio, which is already her gift to us. So we hope we're returning it to her, offering it to her, indeed with something added by way of our own presence, our own prayerful support. So thank you so much to everybody who's been in touch. Thank you to all who've been helping and supporting and organising coffee mornings and the like too, because we've invited our listeners, Father Simon, to host a coffee morning in honour of Our Lady and to maybe have a little fundraiser to help Radio Maria Ireland by way of a birthday gift. So my guest today is Father Simon from Malawi. Good morning, Father Simon.
Good morning, Father Eamonn.
Nice to have you with us, and you're no stranger to Radio Maria.
Yes, indeed.
You've been on Radio Maria in Malawi.
Exactly, you're right.
Good. So we're going to hear a little of Father Simon's maybe story. You might share some of your adventures in Malawi and what brings you here to Ireland. Would be nice too. Lovely international feeling to our radio just the past few days, because as well as Father Simon's visit today, we've had our visitors from Radio Maria in England. Just spoke via Skype there to the coordinator of Radio Maria England, Katie. They're launching their new station in London at the end of the month, so I hope to be able to visit and be there for that lovely occasion if possible. And they're just here to help with a bit of training for our promotion work and really coming together minds by way of international assistance and direction. So Andrea and Raffaele came from Radio Maria in Italy and have spent the last 2-3 days with us organising, directing and encouraging in the work of promotion. And they're concluding, this is their last little session now before they'll conclude at lunchtime. So I'm trying to cut myself in several different little pieces and be present to everybody as best we can. So now, good to have your company today. If you want to drop a like and a comment or a share on our social media, please do. You'll be very welcome to, and let our presence on the internet grow a little as well. And indeed, if you'd like to send in a text or a WhatsApp or give us a call, again, regular listeners will know well. The number to dial, 014 123 456, if you want to give a ring. Mary and Margaret are downstairs, Martina, they're all on the phone. Thomas, I think, is around too, and other volunteers are in the building to help answer all the phone lines. Again, if you're in the north or outside of Ireland, put a +353 in front of the number 14123 456. Now, if you want to text and WhatsApp us, 089 467 2000, 089 467 2000. Just to mention, we have a couple of coffee mornings lined up, and let me just, we want to hear in the studio, of course, so if you want to come visit the studio tomorrow and join in our coffee morning here, we'll have Holy Mass at 10 o'clock, of course, which will be broadcast, and then do stay on and grab a cup of coffee and a cake, or one of Roisin's famous scones, and we'd be very happy indeed to welcome you to come on in and join us. John Carlin is also hosting a coffee morning, and it will be in his own home. Let me see now, I'll flick back here and see, can I find it? So it'll be in his house in Sycamore Road in Mount Merion. So if you're in that side of Dublin, Dublin 4 I suppose, Sycamore Road in Mount Merion, do get in touch with us. We'll give you the contact details, and you can pop into John's house for a morning coffee and a cake there as well. So just let us know, get in touch with us, and we'll direct you there to Dublin 4. I think Niamh Traynor is hosting a coffee morning too as well, and Niamh is down in Kildare. So there's another possibility if you're in and around that side of the country. And if there are any others indeed, still you might have the last minute idea to host a coffee morning, just let us know and we'll pass on the details, and we'll be happy to share that with our listeners. But if there's anybody within range who might like to call in, they'll be very welcome to do so. Now again, Father Simon, you're very welcome to Radio Maria Ireland. Tell us what brings you here to Ireland.
Well, thank you very much, Father Eamonn. I'm here in Ireland because I'm studying in Maynooth, St. Patrick's University, the Pontifical College in Maynooth. So I came here last September. I'm happy to say that I have spent here 12 sorry demands
Very good.
while on Ireland. So I appreciate for the support that the Irish Church has actually given to me as I undertake my studies in Maynooth, St. Patrick's Pontifical College.
Very good. It's a long way to Malawi from here.
Indeed, indeed. It's about a 2-day flight,
Wow.
which can take you back to Malawi. But it's a nice experience when you have that long flight.
Sure.
Indeed.
And maybe your first time to Europe?
Indeed, very right. It was my first time to be in Europe, and that's why I glorify God, because new experiences, a new environment. So
interesting.
perfect.
Yes, and tell me why Ireland and maybe not Rome? I mean, Rome would be a bit closer and maybe a more obvious place to go. Is there an Irish connection or some particular reason maybe that?
Well, I should say that there wouldn't be any particular reason, but I believe that everything, God has its own reason for everything. So I understand my coming here has no any other special reason other than attributing everything to God's divine providence. But suffice to say that although I know my diocese is more connected to Italy, in the sense that most of the bishops that have been, for example, in my diocese, Mangoi diocese, where I'm coming from, have actually been Italian bishops until 2014, when we had the first local bishop, who is the incumbent bishop, Right Reverend Montfort Stima. But at the same time, I knew of Ireland some time back. I know some people that have come to study in Ireland, and then at the same time, I also glorify God, because I shouldn't have been here should it have not been for the Irish Church. I have to say it's the Irish Church that is supporting my studies. I had first contact with Father Shams O'Connell, who happened to be the Dean of Theology last year, as well as Father Michael Shoto, who is the incumbent Dean of St. Patrick's Pontifical University, Maynooth. So these are the persons that actually I say they have worked on behalf of God to help me come to Ireland and actually undertake my studies. Otherwise, I should have not managed to come here.
Sure, good. And I presume the purpose of your study is when you go home to your diocese in Malawi, you'll be given some post by way of teaching or education, or?
Well, we believe that bishops act on behalf of God. So I have to say I'm very happy to be given another role or another appointment that I should serve the people of God as it suits the bishops to.
Very good. Yes,
yeah,
that's a wise answer. Not to anticipate too much. Yes, I do remember a wise professor who since became a bishop said to me when I was doing postgraduate theology, he said, "Look, it's not about more academic qualifications. It's not about, swelling your head with knowledge. This equips you to be a better preacher, a better minister of the gospel of God's word, and to approach it in that way," which I thought that was a nice touch, because we might be inclined to think, well, look, I have all these degrees and I have all this, but no, we're servants of the Lord. So, very good, very good. So interesting. But you told me that you spent some of your years teaching in the minor seminary, which we would understand like a secondary school. Would that be right?
Perfect. Yeah? In fact, you are very right. I was ordained in 2004, and the first appointment that I was given is to go to be a formator and teach at the minor seminary. Our minor seminary is called St. Paul the Apostle Minor Seminary in the Diocese of Mangochi, Malawi, which is to the southeast Africa. And then from 2004, that was the late Right Reverend Bishop Asorali, Alessandro Asorali, who appointed me to go to St. Paul the Minor Seminary. So I was there working as a besa, teacher and formator up until 2007, when his successor, Right Reverend Alessandro Pagani, asked me to help him in the administration work, as I was working as a finance administrator, as well as supporting him in the human resources area. So I worked with him until 2014, when the current and first local bishop, Malawian bishop, Right Reverend Montfort Stima, asked me to go to a parish as assistant priest in 2015 in May. That was Nankwali Parish in the same diocese of Mangochi. I went there for 1 year, and then in 2016, around May, my current bishop also asked me to go back to the seminary to be rector of the seminary.
Okay.
So I went back to St. Paul Minor Seminary up until 2021 when he asked me to come to Ireland for further studies.
Okay, great. So you had a nice variety of experience there. And traditionally in Ireland, the idea of the minor seminary is a thing of the past here, but you may have come to learn as you've been here, we would have what we would call something similar diocesan colleges. A number of them still exist, and they would have been run primarily by priests. This would be back a generation ago. And there would have been a number of vocations would have come through the boys who would have attended these colleges, would have gone on for the church because of the example they saw in the priests who were rectors and teachers there. So is that more or less the shape of it in Malawi too, that these are they mixed schools, or is it an idea that it's a source of formation for young boys particularly? Or
Yes, I would say you are very right. What has totally been abolished in Malawi in most of the dioceses is a preparatory seminary, which is synonymous to primary school. But most of the dioceses have actually maintained the minor seminaries.
Okay.
When you talk about the setup of Malawi, the setup is that a minor seminary, as you have rightly said, is similar to a secondary school.
Yes.
But that the minor seminary goes beyond the ordinary secondary school because it has a touch of formation, holistic formation.
Yeah.
So our idea in a minor seminary, basically there are two. That firstly, we would like to give the young persons, the young Catholic boys, a conducive environment where they can be discerning upon their future decisions, whether to become a priest or not. Although it seems to be at an area level, but has proved to be very, very instrumental. In Malawi, we have challenges with socioeconomic challenges, and sometimes we have young boys who would easily become priests, but they're coming from a challenged family background, so they may not have the necessary values at that elementary level from the family or basic Christian marriage. So the seminary also takes that role where the Christian families or ordinary families have actually failed to bring their children to that level where they can easily discern whether to become a priest or not in the right manner. So the seminary has proved an alternative to support of these broken families. We have a lot of broken families, maybe child-headed families or woman-headed families, which do not give these young people the necessary environment. So we have specific role, and we commit ourselves in the minor seminaries so that with the spiritual directors that are allocated to every young seminarian, with all the teachers, the boarding, all the staff in general, we support these young seminarians so that they should have those necessary values. When they have those necessary values, they can now ably be assisted to discern. It has always been a case that a good number of them would go to the major seminary, would proceed. But of course, some, we leave everything in the hands of God. We have also a secondary reason, and the Right Reverend Montfort Stima, my bishop, emphasizes on this, that even if a minor seminarian has not proceeded to priesthood, but the church has not lost, because these are the people that now contribute effectively to the development of the country in general. So we have, out of these, you'll be surprised that a good number of these have actually taken some prominent positions in the public sector. Some of them, I remember one of the alumni of St. Paul Minor Seminary, where I was, I'm the recent past rector, is actually the presidential advisor on the youth, right? So, and that's Right Honorable Lucius Banda. He's a presidential advisor. He was also an MP for some time. So these are also the public servants where the bishops or the Episcopal Conference would actually lobby with them to make sure that whenever you go to the August House, the Parliament of Malawi, please do not pass the laws that are against the church, that are against the human rights, that are against the fundamental tenets of the well-being of human beings. For example, recently there was a bill that was supposed to be the pro-abortion bill that was supposed to be passed, but the bishops actually lobbied with our Catholic MPs to make sure that please go there with the Catholic values. And some of these, they're the persons that are actually beneficiaries of the seminary formation. So we have to say the minor seminaries are actually working very hard, because apart from some failing to proceed to priesthood, but they are instrumental in different sectors of the society. The only challenge certainly that we have, which I don't know could be the reasons possibly that Ireland abandoned this, but coming from the third world country or a growing nation, the only challenge that we have in the minor seminary is financing.
Sure.
Yeah, because most of the people that go to the minor seminary are coming from very poor families. And for example, where I'm coming from, St. Paul the Apostle Minor Seminary, equivalent would be, they were asked to contribute about maybe 145, during my time, 145 euro. But you will find a lot of students actually dropping from school because their parents are very poor, they will not manage. Thank God, when I came here, I also learned of St. Vincent of de Paul group, because when I was in the minor seminary, about 4 or so number of students actually dropped. So lucky enough, this has actually spread in so many countries. I met the leaders, the president of St. Vincent de Paul, and actually appealed to them to say, look at these young boys, they are good boys, but they are actually dropping school because of lack of school fees. They were picked. So when I came here to Ireland, one of the prayers that I actually offered to God is to pray for the Irish church, other than myself being a beneficiary of Irish church in terms of support in a school and welfare. But I have also seen the growth of God while I was the rector, that Irish church has even supported these young persons who should have dropped. Who knows, some of them are going to become priests. All right,
Sure.
and who knows, some of them are going to be instrumental in the society at large. So this is how God does.
Yes, good. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear, and it's very true. It's hard to put a price or a value on that kind of formation that is, as you say, holistic, not just in the sciences, in numeracy and literacy, but also in faith and in charity and in the virtues that will, as you say, make of them good, upright citizens, as well as members of the church community. So it's a huge contribution. And indeed, we lament, sadly, the loss of our diocesan colleges, as they're called. They've been handed over to the secular teachers, which, there's a lot of very good work still going on, but the religious dimension tends to be less. And so the formation in virtue and in faith is somehow diminished, and there's a loss there. It's a pity to see it, but that's lovely to hear, because we look to Africa as the growing church and maybe even the future of the church. And maybe give us a little picture of Malawi as a country, and the kind of you were telling us downstairs, Catholics are in a minority. There's a large Muslim presence.
Yeah. Well, Malawi as a country, I would say it lies to the southeast of Africa, and it's a landlocked country.
Yes.
Being a landlocked country, it means we don't have an access to the sea. That makes it even difficult for us to access our imports. They become exorbitant in terms of shipping costs, because we have to go through Mozambique, we have to go through Tanzania, so that we can access our commodities. But Malawi is a peaceful country. for those that have asked me, what is Malawi like? We actually get proud of ourselves because it is one of the peaceful countries in Africa and one of the peaceful countries for even investment. It's a country that you can move freely.
Okay.
Of course, there could be here some isolated cases that cannot be avoided. But generally, it's called the warm heart of Africa, because generally the people are welcoming, and it's a peaceful country. Our lake is well known around the world. We have a beautiful lake called Lake Malawi, and it's a lake that is basically having fresh waters. It's one of the lakes in the world that has a lot of species of fish, and it has a tasty fish. If you can come for the it's called chambo. I invite you to come to Malawi and taste chambo, and also if you know how to swim, you enjoy the fresh waters of Malawi. Our population is now at around 20 million.
Okay.
Around 20 million. Of course, the Catholics make around, I would say, roughly 18% of the total population of the religious groupings in Malawi. But certainly, we also have Muslims who are also generally in large majority, and possibly growing faster than any Christian denomination, for deliberate factors, because some of the factors that are actually making Islamic religion grow faster is issues to do with marriage, because basically Islam teaches that you can practice polygamy. So some of the Christian women are actually married off to Muslims, largely because of poverty. That's the thing. So if they can be married off, they feel supported and their security assured. And then we also have marriage crisis in our country. So we have a lot of, because of the same poverty, a lot of migrants to South Africa to look for employment, and in the process some of the women are actually abandoned. So they are actually in dilemma. So chances are high that they can easily get basically that way. And the Islamic religion also promises at least a good life, basically. They can easily offer scholarships to young women, to young women and men. They can offer employment to maybe Arab-based countries. So sometimes, due to socio-economic challenges, chances are high that the religion can easily absorb the existing Christian religion. But other than the things that I've said are actually a pride to Malawi, being peaceful and the welcoming environment, the basic challenges, as I've said, are that it's a landlocked country, and then we also don't have reliable export commodity. Our basic export commodity is tobacco, which is also having challenges on the international market. Tobacco accounts for the largest part of our exports, and because of that, it's really a challenge, because it does not necessarily attract more forex. And you would be surprised that at this point in time, our currency has been devalued by 25%, because we were told it had to be realigned to the major currencies. So what has happened, that the inflation has gone very high and life is very expensive. Recently I was following the news from Malawi. I was told even fuel is becoming very scarce, even in the major cities, bringing a lot of challenges, even on the other items that basically depend upon transportation, all that. So we're really in a financial challenging situation, because it's only 40% of our national budget that is covered by our domestic revenue, but the rest are dependent upon donor support. So minus that, it means we are always in problems. And the biggest challenge is that even if we get donor support, most of it is actually consumption support, not for investment. Because if the budget can only be financed, almost 60% has to depend upon donor aid. Most of these are spent on recurrent expenses. That's why we have a good number of trained personnel, for example, teachers, nurses, but they're not absorbed into the main civil service because the wage bill is going to be huge, and the government cannot have the necessary resources to pay this. And that's why it also makes it difficult for the government to make substantial adjustments in the wages or wage bill of the civil servants. Because if they do that, although the life is costly, but where are they going to get the money?
The funding.
Yeah. So recently I've had a lot of demonstrations asking the government to lower the prices of the things, because basically life is very hard. It's very, very hard, and the government cannot really afford. While there could be other administrative challenges associated with the government, but in my opinion, I also believe that the situation of our country is really a challenge in itself, that no president can just rise up in a day and fix all the problems. For your information, Father Eamonn, you will be interested to appreciate that Malawi, where I'm coming from, is one of the poorest countries in Africa, possibly after Burundi. So it also means that it's one of the poorest countries in the world.
Yes. Wow. Gosh. Well, listen, thanks so much, Father Simon. And just for anybody who maybe just joined us, Father Simon is visiting us here and studying in Maynooth from Malawi, and fascinating to hear the conditions of your own country and the huge challenges that you have to face. It helps to put into context, for what we call first world problems, that really some of the problems we have pale in insignificance, maybe, or insignificance to some of the issues that you're having to face. We might just pause for a little piece of music, just to give our listeners a little bit of time to absorb all of that interesting information as well, and for you to get in touch with us. So please, if you would like to text or WhatsApp, even if you're watching back later or listening back later, please do get in touch. And the numbers, as always, by phone 014123456 +353, of course, from the north or outside of Ireland. And if you want to text us, do please as well. You might have some interesting information to add. Maybe you've been to Malawi, maybe you know somebody from Malawi, maybe you're interested in the whole history or sociology or faith formation. All of these things are fascinating questions. Please do interact with us. 089 467 2000 is the text to WhatsApp number. So Thomas, if you have a little piece of music lined up, we'll take a small little break and back very shortly.
Lord, we lift up high the banner of your cross. You took on all the darkness, rose to rescue us. King of love, deliverer. You pulled us from the dust, snatched us from the mire. Your spirit moves within us, fills us with his fire. King of love, deliverer. And I'll sing this song of praise, for I will bless your name. Standing in your love amazed, transformed and blessed and saved. There is nothing that your name cannot overcome. Jesus, Jesus. is good, your name is strong, and the war you've won. Jesus Christ, be lifted high, Savior, healer, bread of life. To you we plead, to you we cry, deliverer. Your name will always overcome whatever might be going on. Your name is good, your name is strong, and the war you've won. Jesus Christ, be lifted high, Savior, healer, bread of life. To you we plead, to you we cry, deliverer. And I'll sing this song of praise, for I will bless your name, standing in your love amazed, transformed and blessed and saved. There is nothing that your name cannot overcome. Jesus, Jesus. And I'll sing this song of love, forever you are good. Lord, you are my shield secure, the rock on which I'm stood. There is nothing that your name cannot overcome. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Oh, we worship you, Lord, the King of love you are, our deliverer. We worship you, oh Lord, you're the King of love. Jesus, oh Jesus.
Welcome back to Radio Maria Ireland. Thank you for your company today. Father Eamonn with you for our Chatechesis, and we're working our way through our novena, of course, in honor of Our Lady's Nativity, and encouraging you to participate that in offering your gift in some way to Our Lady, helping Radio Maria to grow and to extend its influence. So we're seeing that very much this week in the guests we have coming in to see us, and Father Simon Mundisier from Mangochi Diocese in Malawi is sharing with us today. And fascinating to listen to you, Father Simon, the conditions and the circumstances and the problems that you have in Malawi, in your country, so very different from the issues we might have here. And very good for us to learn of that and to realize and experience that. Just off air, we're chatting about public transport. Oh, here, Father Simon was saying you've got to wait till the minibus is full at the bus station if you get there, and the roads, the quality of the roads, your day, you just can't organize your day the way you might like to organize your day here. And we give out if the bus is 3 minutes or 5 minutes late. So it's fascinating really to hear the different environment, the different culture, the poverty indeed as well, which we are so blessed in Ireland in relative terms. And we do have to thank God for so many good things. So it's very interesting. So your impressions of Ireland, Father Simon, having come from, again, a country that has its own difficulties and problems and struggles, what would be your, having spent a year here now?
Yes, Father Eamonn. This is almost 12 months. I should say I finished 12 months while on Ireland, because I came last year in September. So it's exactly a year and some few days that I've stayed here. The differences, I would say, are numerous, certainly. But I may just highlight a few of them.
Sure.
And of course, I would also be interested to share with you some of the similarities that I've basically experienced.
Okay.
Yeah. In the first place, it's that generally the people are friendly and welcoming. I was very much afraid of the cultural crashes that I would experience having moved from Africa and being in Europe for the first time. But when I arrived here, you would be surprised that I missed a flight at Frankfurt, the initial flight, because I was told I had to rework on my personal locator form because I came here when the COVID pandemic was at peak. And then the initial flight actually left me. So with communication breakdown, I had only to depend upon email, and I also had challenges accessing the email. Like enough, one of the colleagues also was on his trip, but he assisted me. The emphasis here, I'm talking about the friendliness of the people, just like I've expressed the friendliness of the people in Malawi. So Father Shamus came to the airport to welcome me, but having missed me, he went back to Maynooth.
Oh.
And we had to struggle communicating in between up until he actually got my email, and he learned that I would be leaving Frankfurt around 10 p.m.
Okay.
He came back. I always see God in all these things, because I wouldn't really imagine that such kind of a person would be so kind enough just to make sure that I'm very safe. So other than him, I also appreciate when I was, everything was new. I didn't know how to board a bus. I didn't know about things to do with the lip cards. But the people that asked, my parish priest, Father Pierce McLaughlin, was always treating me as a very small baby, to say, no, this is how we do it. This is how we board a bus. He took me to one of the bus stations. You board the bus here. If you're going to Maynooth, you take bus, let's say 18, it drops you there. So initially inserting me into the system. And at one point in time, when I was lost, I remember when I was lost, at one point in time, I was not so sure which route to get. Somebody actually approached me to say, you look to be a little bit lost. I said, yes, I was actually about to ask. So he said, what is it that you would like to be assisted with? So I explained to him, and then he went on his Google map, said, no, look at this. This is how we do it. So somebody who is a stranger, he didn't know me. I even didn't know him, but he actually helped me through my challenges. So that friendliness. And I said, well, I am at home. I am not lost. And when my family members were asking me, how are you settling? I said, don't worry. Even if I do not call you, even if we don't talk frequently, but be assured that I am at home. And I sent them the pictures of Father Pierce McLaughlin. This is my parish priest. Just be sure that I'm in the I sent them a number of pictures of the parishioners, Professor Shamus, Dr. Michael Shoto, and they were actually excited. From time to time, they were sending me messages to say, we are happy. Of course, the biggest challenge that I encountered here is weather.
We all do.
But possibly your feeling would be different from me. I'm coming from Mangoyi Diocese, and I've been there throughout my life. The temperatures can go as high as 40 degrees plus. So I came here around September when the temperatures were very low. Now to quickly adjust, it was really hell to me. I really have to say it was not easy. But well, slowly, although I cannot say I've completely adapted, but at least I'm able to anticipate what is coming ahead. But that time I didn't know. And I didn't have the necessary clothes to suit my environment. So it was really horrible for me. But thank God, Father Pierce actually was always coming to my support, say, no, please, we'll be 2 hours behind now. We'll be an hour, so get ready on this. So he was always supporting me in terms of understanding the different environment. So I actually also thank God for the gift of Father Pierce. Has been so wonderful to me and the Christians of St. Matthew's Parish, Ballyfermot.
Good. Yes, we're actually neighbours then. I didn't realise, because I'm up the Sarsfield Road in Ballyfermot. Where I'm with. So I didn't realise you were in my neighbourhood. So that's where I'm resident. Interesting. And no doubt maybe the trying to understand us, maybe by way of just communication, and maybe some of the cultural things are probably a little bit different too.
Well, yeah, you're right. In Africa, life is more fluid. In Malawi, life is more fluid. By fluidity of the life, I'm saying there are few, I would say, there are few processes, basically processes and the logistical issues. I would give an example. The first time that I wanted to cut short my hair, I went to a barber shop and I was told, no, it's fully booked. It surprised me because back in Malawi, I don't need to book to have my hair cut short. And there I was told, you have to come tomorrow because it's fully booked. I have just to go in Malawi. I need just to go. If I have the money, I have just to to have the service. So such kind of would I say bureaucratic way of looking at things. Yeah. So it's not easy to get something if you have not made prior arrangements. But this is something that I also appreciated. I already talked to especially my consanguine relatives back home. I said, possibly this is something that we have to look into Africa when we have to talk about accelerating development. Because sometimes we behave as if we have all the time with us. But our friends here value time as an important factor of production. Because now it means if I have to access a certain service, I know I should not miss it. Because if I miss it, maybe somebody is going to be admitted there. And I remember last time when I was to book for a general practitioner, because I was told you need to have a general practitioner. So I also needed to book. Okay. And then I was told, if you want to meet your GP, come on this particular date. So it gave me a task to make sure I don't miss that appointment. If I have a challenge, I have to make prior communication. What that means is the rest of the time I can plan on other things, and those people at the service center can also plan on other things and other people. While sometimes if we behave as if we have all the time, we misuse time. Instead of allocating time as an important resource to production, we can just waste time. So I was sharing to them to say, this is an important factor that I've actually found here, how to use time very well. Yeah.
Interesting. It's fascinating to just compare and contrast. And unfortunately, our time has run away with us, as always happens on our program here. It's been wonderful to be able to speak with you and to see things in a new light for us as well. And to hear of your great work, really, with education and formation, too, in Malawi. And we're looking to Africa, Europe, sadly, sort of the faith dying a little here. We're looking to places like Africa and Latin America and Asia for the church the growing church to take its rightful place, too. So we're very grateful for you. I'm sorry our time has just disappeared.
That's fine. That's okay. Oh, I see.
So we'll have to speak again maybe another time. But
thank you very much.
We're very grateful for you coming to visit us. You'll stay with me to pray with me now, Father Simon?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. Because Ken, I think, who was due to be here, is unable to make it. So the Lord sent you instead.
Okay.
So greetings and thanks to all our friends on social media, and thank you for listening. Stay tuned with us, of course. It's 12 o'clock now. We'll pause for our Angelus and our midday prayer.